what is cultural diversity? How can a country protect multiculturalism? And how can different cultures interact peacefully? Humankind history has always been characterized by the movement and the continuous interconnection among people coming from different contexts because of the endless migratory waves. Often, this obliged bond between different cultures caused misunderstandings and conflicts. The work of many international associations, including UNESCO, is dedicated to making people realize that cultural diversity is a precious resource to be fostered for everyone's well-being. It is important to provide the right tools to manage cross-cultural human relationships, which are different as far as behavior and mentality are concerned, but identical in terms of human rights and dignity. To encourage relationships in a multicultural society, one has to be very open-minded and aware of one's own culture. Cross-cultural dialogue helps to surmount cultural differences through interaction. It respects everyone's cultural specificities, promoting universally shared rights and values. Protecting cultural diversity is crucial to foster cooperation, improve both individuals and communities, and promote mutual respect. For this reason, a country such as Australia adopted a multicultural policy aimed at considering the world's diversity and richness synonyms. Australia has a huge variety of people living in it, and according to some data, 23% of its population was born abroad. That is to say, a quarter of it has a different culture of origin. Every multicultural policy focuses on public initiatives aimed at acknowledging and tolerating cultural diversities within society. In Australia, one had to wait until the 70s before a real multicultural policy was introduced, because for a long period of time, the immigration policy was based on the myth of a white Australia, and until the second post-war period, the immigrants were mainly from Britain. Between 1972 and 1975, the government adopted a policy aimed at multiculturalism that included the introduction of anti-discrimination measures, the acknowledgement of the right of native Australians to own land, and the state aid for the most disadvantaged ethnic groups. But the very first time the words multicultural society were used was in an official political statement of the Australian government in 1973. In 1975, the Racial Discrimination Act forbade any kind of discrimination. A very important step for the Australia's multicultural policy evolution dates back to only a few years ago, and was the Multicultural Australia United in Diversity Statement, which gives importance to the harmony of community and the benefits for Australians given by cultural diversity. Australian multicultural policy embraces both the very ancient heritage of its native inhabitants and that of the recently settled populations. It supports the rights of each Australian citizen to practice one's own culture, language, or religion within the law. The four main points of its policy are the principles that underpin every multicultural policy and reflect the Australian government's main goal, which is to create a united society thanks to a shared future founded on cultural diversity. Melbourne is the Australian second largest city, and today, Legan Street is the most important place in it as far as Italian traditions are concerned. Anyway, there are also many Chinese, Japanese, Indian and other shops and restaurants. These are only some of the examples of this multicultural metropolis. The charm that such a variety evokes is huge, because it carries with it many traditions and customs. But there is also the difficulty to keep the social cohesion level high to avoid conflicts between different cultures. The linguistic and cultural problem causes deep misunderstandings, and here is where the mediator intervenes. Cultural diversity and multiculturalism are important elements linked to the environment where the mediator works. His or her intervention is required in more than a working sector, such as the linguistic, cultural, educational, and judicial ones. Obviously, each of them has its own specific features. But the means through which the mediator creates the bridge between the parts in question is cross-cultural communication, which does not focus only on verbal language, but also on body language. The cross-cultural mediator is aware of how the world is varied and of how this variety influences the interchange between people coming from different cultures. This important professional figure learns new things through interacting with members of other cultures and increasing user ability day by day. Being part of a cross-cultural perspective means accepting and respecting the differences which are not immoral according to our standards. The cross-cultural mediator and his or her intervention in different areas lead to growth and development. The mediators are the main actors in this multi-ethnic setting, and their profession has been supported by several regional and national laws in Italy. At ministerial level, decrees have been passed on the theme of cross-cultural mediation in schools, not only regarding the reception of foreign students and the relationships between schools and families, but also as an incentive for cross-cultural education. As far as the Italian National Health Service is concerned, there are some important guidelines for cross-cultural mediators in the field of prevention, healthcare, and rehabilitation. For legal matters, the intervention of cross-cultural mediators in the detention system is required. Many associations committed themselves to give this role a regional and national legislative value. The growing demand for cross-cultural mediators in all sectors underlines the need to find peaceful solutions to any kind of difficult situation and to avoid episodes in which racism and xenophobia are the protagonists. With this analysis, an attempt has been made to make people aware of the importance of some old themes that are at the top of the international agenda still today. This dissertation graduation was written in the firm belief that the sharing of some inalienable principles, such as the protection of human rights, freedom of speech and expression, and equal opportunities, is the best way to combat xenophobia and racism, so that cultural specificities are not lost.
Frightened of this thing that I've become.